Shalom, all praises, honor, and glory and fear to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahar, Quadash Rakah. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations and safety to the whole four leg brothers out there that's enduring. I want to do a quick little video because yesterday at camp there was a Jake that came up and he came up in a in a weird way. He kind of came up and he had requested that we acknowledge his discernment. So Jake was, he had a little bit of pride on him. He basically was classifying himself as a good discerner. You know, and so brothers didn't really say nothing. We just kind of, saying we're gonna see how this goes. We began to try his spirit or whatnot. But he came up. He said that he watch us, our camp specifically, as well as GMS and other Israelite groups as well. And Jake had a lot of wine in him. Jake he he was drunk. He was drunk off that wine. And I ain't talking about uh physical wine from the vine. I'm talking about the different philosophies. You could tell he didn't. He been scrambling with a whole bunch of learning, a whole bunch of different things. And there was one thing he was classifying our doctrine, which is not a doctrine, it's the truth. We know it as the truth. And he was saying that he was some things in our doctrine that he didn't believe in. Like one thing he said that he didn't believe that the Japhet was the Hawaiians, the Samoans, the Polynesians, the he didn't believe that. He also didn't believe that. I believe he said he didn't believe that Ethiopians were Cushites. But he didn't even have an answer to what he think they are. He didn't know, but he just didn't believe what we say, which is the truth. So, we dealt with them though. We dealt, it was a good edification session at camp. And I encourage any brother that got the time to check it out. It was pretty good. Jake stayed with us pretty much for the majority of camp. We answered all his questions. All the questions he had, he was hitting us with a lot of questions. We was edifying him. And when Jake left, it was all good spirits. We had different phases with him. It was times we had to reproof him. Sometimes we had to give him sharp correction, and then it was times that we had to tell him to hold his peace, and because Jake get amped up. And but for the most part, he would humble himself. We asked him to listen, we asked him to hold his peace, things like that. He would. So but Jake gonna hold on to things that they believe until the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai have to come upon you, and then you go and wipe out everything you knew and become a newborn babe, and you're gonna desire uh, the sincere milk, and you'll learn and you'll get built up. Hopefully Jake come back out and keep coming out. But I wanted to go use this opportunity to do a quick lesson about the whole sequence event we had with Jake. So the first scripture, because he was reading, all different books, he was naming different things, Hinduism stuff, and all kind of stuff. Jake was all over the place. So this is Revelations 1:1. It says, "The revelation of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, which Yahweh gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angels unto his servant John, who bear record of the word of Yahweh and of the testimony of Yahweh Shai Mashiach of all things that he saw. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which were written therein, for the time is at hand." And so, what are those things we're supposed to be keeping the words of? The prophecies that's going to take place that are written in the scriptures, and the time is at hand. Because Jake was saying that he was maintaining the fact that he believed that he was called and that he's a servant. I asked him particularly myself, what makes you think that you were called? And he asked me, well, what makes you think that you're called? And I responded by, because I'm doing the things that the scriptures say that the Most High would have doing to the men that he called. They would be doing these things. They would be going out on the highways and byways. That first of all, they would turn their lives over to the truth, understand the truth. They would eat that whole roll. I mean, understand the truth, the scriptures, and then they will go out on the highways and byways and prophesy to, bring out this truth, do the work on, going out. They'll be doing videos. They'll be getting together with brethren, doing videos, live shows, pushing this word, and then also following, when they by themselves what the scriptures say, not being a hypocrite. So, but he maintained the fact that he believed that he goes out because, Jake go out to the, the bus stop and talk to people, and they believe that they a servant, whatnot. But we was trying to explain to Jake that, nah, you got to understand the scriptures. You can't be all over the place. And then once you understand the scriptures, the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua will come upon you. So he knew the name. So he knew the name based off listening probably to us. So, the spirit, but the spirit has to be on you. The scriptures tell you that it's the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profit nothing. You can fleshly say the name all day, but the spirit has to be on you. That's the connection to the Most High. If he ain't got a spirit on you, then you're not plugged into the power source. So you could be, you could just be out there saying the name, don't mean anything. So we was trying to edify Jake, so Jake can, humble himself and turn to face the Most High, come towards the Most High. And the Most High put the Spirit on him to answer that call, because he was led to us, So out of all the studying and all the researching and everything he does, the Most High led him over here. So next scripture is Isaiah 34:16. It says, "Seek ye out the book of the Lord and read. No one of these shall fail." The book of the Lord is the scriptures, the Bible, and none one of these shall fail is the prophecies that are written in the scriptures. None shall want her mate. So you can't make the scriptures with any other book out there. You can't be reading all these other different books and learning from what some other man that wrote from published in the book, and then make that what the scriptures say. The scriptures will stand alone. Any other book has to reiterate what the scriptures say and have to be in line with what the scriptures say. And that's the only thing that you could use another book for, if it helps to back up what the scriptures say. Like, you could read a history book, and if what it says in that history book doesn't match up with the scriptures, then it's useless. But if it backs up, because the history books will tell you about the Roman Empire, the Medo-Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, the Babylonian Empire, that goes synonymous with what the scriptures say. But other than that, you can't be making the scriptures with no other book. It says, "For my mouth it had commanded, and his spirit it had gathered them." So how the Most High servants are going to be gathered? They're going to be gathered, like the scriptures say in Baruch, that they're going to be gathered from the east to the west by the word of the Most High. Matter of fact, let me get that right quick. I believe it is 4. All right, here we go. It's Baruch 4:20 and 37. It says, "Lo, thy sons come, whom thou sendest away, and they come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of Yahweh." So we're gonna be gathered. All the elect servants of the Most High are gonna be gathered by this word, and it's being utilized through the internet, through the YouTube. So the next scripture I want to get into is Isaiah 29:9, because like I said, Jake was filled up with that wine. It says, stay yourselves and wonder, cry ye out and cry. They are drunken, but not with wine. They stagger, but not with strong drink. So that wine is talking about other philosophies. Jake had you could tell Jake been here, a little there, every way with doctrine. Jake had took attention to. You know, you could tell he spent time. You know what I'm saying? He spent time in researching and checking all different things out. And so with all each philosophy that he went into is like taking a drink of wine. And so he drank from here, drank from there, drank a little this, drank a little that, and as you know, he's drunk with all these other philosophies. As if a man took a whole bunch of drinks of physical wine would be drunk, he's drunk with the philosophies of other teachings. It says, for the Lord had poured out upon you the spirit of deep sleep, and had closed your eyes. The prophets and your rulers and seers had he covered, and the visions of all is become unto you as the word of a book that is sealed. So when you done been all these other different reading all these different books, listening to all these other teachings, and following all these other philosophies, when it comes to you trying to understand the scriptures, it's going to be sealed to you because your conscience is seared like a hot iron of all the stuff you've been all the different wine you've been drinking, all the different philosophies you've been entertaining. So it'll be sealed unto you. And the only one that can break that seal is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because all of us at one point was into something else, even if I mean, myself, I was into the Christian church and the Christianity, and so I was classified myself as a spiritual man, but I was in a religion. So that I was bounded by that religion until Yahweh Shemel Shai, had the tender mercies of waking me up to the truth, breaking that seal off of me and opening up my mind to this truth and blessing me to learn it and understand it and get it and to become a servant of his. That's the only way it'll work for you. You can't just take, I'm gonna learn this Hebrew Israelites thing, but I'm looking, I'm checking out this black conscious, this Egyptology, and you know what, took a little bit when I learned from when I was talking with this dude and I was learning from this dude that was a Mormon. All the different things that's out there. You can engage in all that, but you just know that the word of the Most High is gonna be sealed unto you. A book that's sealed, you ain't gonna get it. It says, which men deliver to one that is learned, saying, read this, I pray thee. And he said, I cannot, for it is sealed. So like Jake, he had he was familiar with some of the things we said, and I had perceived it through the spirit that the things that he did know about or understood or perceived that we were saying, it was because he watched us. He had been watching us for he didn't really specify how long he had been watching us, but he said he do watch us. So the things that he was familiar with that we spoke of, I believe he got it from us. But other things that we asked him, that he may not have seen us go into, he couldn't get it. It was sealed unto him. Verse 12, it says, and the book is delivered to him that is not learned, saying, read this, I pray thee, for he said, I cannot. It's like I am not learned. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth and with their lips do honor me, but have removed their hearts far from me, and their fear towards me is taught by the precepts of men. So they'll get what a man teaches them, the precepts of men, traditions and stuff like that. But when it comes to them understanding the knowledge of the Most High, it'll be sealed unto them unless the Most High opens you up. He opens up your mind. He calls you. Like the scriptures say, you have not called me, but I have called you. So the Most High has to call you. And we don't know. Jake came out, spent the whole day with us, like multiple hours. All them hours he spent with us, that could have been that could be the beginning of him being called. Because I know he walked away, and when he walked away, he was like, hey man, good seeing y'all, man, and we was like, yeah, man, we out here every Saturday. He was like, all right, all right. He was like, come back, man. And the brother, the brother Zion was like, I forgot what his name was. I believe his name was Mike, or I don't want to fumble his name, but whatever his name was, the brother Zion called his name because he remembered it, and he was like, "Hey, stop bullshitting," meaning keep coming out, keep seeking this, man. Like stop fumbling around with all that other bull, and keep coming. This is where it's at, because ain't nowhere else he gonna go unless he go to another great millstone camp. That's the only way he gonna go and get answers. I mean, true answers. It ain't gonna be nowhere else. So there's two things that we dealing with here. We're gonna deal with um, the wine. This was the wine. They be drunk off wine, and then there's uh, another thing that's classified just like as wine, but it's known as a strange woman, which is also those different philosophies. So this is Proverbs 22:14. It says, "The mouth of strange women is a deep pit. He that abhorreth the Lord shall fall therein." So anyone who abhors if you abhor the Lord, meaning you abhor the scriptures, you're gonna fall into that pit, and you're gonna be making love to that strange woman, and that strange woman is gonna bite you. So the last scripture I want to get into is Proverbs 23:26. It says, "My son, give thine heart and let thine eyes observe my ways," meaning your heart is talking about your mind, and your eyes represents you seeing what the scriptures is talking about and observing the ways you see. You can see what the scriptures is talking about. And you can only get that from someone that can teach you. You need teachers. Like we have our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who teach us well. They rule well because they teach well. So we're able to see and understand and turn our hearts over to this because we were listening to our apostles and elders. So we were able to get ourselves up under them. Scripture say, "Get thyself up unto great men." Verse 27 says, "For a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman is a narrow pit." That strange woman is talking about. So you could utilize this scripture like a carnal man could look at this and say it's talking about a woman, for like a physical woman. But you can apply it to a physical woman. But a spiritual man is going to see the spirituality, the deep underlining what it's really talking about. It's talking about other philosophies. It's talking about you serving other gods, idolatry. These things is what it's talking about. And it'll be a narrow pit to you. She also lieth in wait as for a prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men. Actually, let me go back to Proverbs because I want to I'm gonna read the scripture again. It says, "The mouth of the strange woman is a deep pit, and he that abhorreth the Lord shall fall therein." And I want to get that word strange woman before I continue. Okay. It comes from the Hebrew word zawar, and it says to be strange, to be a stranger, become estrange another stranger, foreign, an enemy, loathsome, a breath, strange woman, prostitute, harlot, estranged, to be estranged, to be a stranger, to be alienated. Then you go down to the GM, the Chaldeans lexicon, and it says to turn aside, to depart, to depart from someone, especially from Yahweh. So that's what it's really talking about. That strange woman. When you go away from the Most High and start following these other gods, it says from the way of truth and uprightness, which falsehood, lie, falsehood, to tell lies, to turn from the way, to lodge at anyone's house. And anyone's house is talking about, you following them other the because a house is basically a foundation. It's a place where you lay your head, you live. So you set your foundation, your house, upon another doctrine or another philosophy, but which is not of the Most High. You went away from the Most High. It says, hence to be a stranger, strange or foreign, to be strange or foreign. So basically, it's talking about you going following these other false philosophies, serving other gods and worshiping other gods. You know, around here it says a strange or foreign god, the domestic god of some other nation, introducing amongst the Hebrews. So if you're a Hebrew Israelite and you following other false philosophies, you ain't following what the scriptures say, you reading on these other books, you following these other guys, and even if you following what the scriptures say, you gotta worship the Most High in spirit and in truth. So you can't just be in a Christian church and say, "Oh, I read the Bible." That doesn't mean anything. You gotta follow the truth of the Bible. So back in Proverbs 23 and verse 30, verse 27 says, for a whore is a deep ditch, and a strange woman, we just went into what the strange woman is a narrow pit. Also, she also lieth in wait for a prey, and increaseth the transgressors among men. Who had woe, who had sorrow, who had contention, who had babbling, and who had wounds without cause, who had redness of eyes. And the brother that came out, he was doing some babbling. He was doing a lot of babbling. So when you watch the video, you could see how the type of babbling he was doing. It's verse 30 says, they that tarry long at the wine, they that go to seek mixed wine. So when you tarrying long at the wine, man, you spending a lot of time reading these other books, you know, finding out and learning more about all these philosophies, and then you mixing the wine as you mixing different philosophies. You may have learned from 5 different philosophies, and you take a little bit from each one and you put it together and you think you got knowledge. It's like a jailhouse nigga. A nigga in a jailhouse, nigga in prison will be in prison reading books all the time. He do a 5-year bid and he done read X amount of books, and he took a little bit from each book he read and he put it together, and this nigga get to babbling and talking. That's somebody who mixed the wine. You mixed all those different philosophies that you learned into one, and you out there speaking on a little bit of this, a little bit of that from each and every different philosophy you done read upon. That's you mixing the wine. Verse 31, look not thou upon the wine when it is red. So also looking out upon the wine when it's red, when it red meaning, when you have the deep darker a red is, the more enriched, the more substance, the more value a wine will have. That means it was pressed real well. So and the more if you have a bitter wine, the more bitter it will taste. Or if it's a sweet wine or whatnot, just basically the flavor of the content of the wine. That's what the red represents. So the more enjoyable that wine will be. So in this case, it says, "Look not upon the wine when it is red." So if you meet you run into a dude and he get to talking to you about, he get to talking to you about black consciousness, and he going in Egyptology, and he telling you about Amun Ra and all these other different Egyptian gods, and it sound good. That's the redness, the red of the wine. It sound good. Oh man, he making sense. Oh man, damn, he got some knowledge. That sound right. You know, but it's all lies. It ain't true, and basically giving you spoiled wine, because that's not the true wine. True wine is the scriptures. And even if somebody reading you the scriptures and they breaking it down the scriptures, like in these harlot houses, these churches, they reading it, and that wine they serve you looks red. Like, oh man, they know what he talking about. That's what the wine being red is talking about. Don't look at upon it because it sound good. It says when it. So like on that, brother call a brother back after I finish up the video. But it says, when it giveth his color in the cup, when it moveth itself aright, at the last it biteth like a serpent and stingeth like an adder. It's like you looking at what this dude is talking about. Somebody talking to you about something, and it sound real good. The wine is red, man. That wine is red, man. He sounding good, man. Everything he's saying sound making sense. Sounds good to me. But you don't know it's gonna bite you like a serpent. It's stinging. It's gonna sting like an adder, a snake. because it's gonna come out and bite you because it's not the truth. And one way it's gonna bite you is if your life on the line. Because if you're taking heed to all these other philosophies, you gonna receive you're gonna receive that judgment for following that madness. Verse 33: Thine eyes shall behold strange woman. To behold means to look upon. You're gonna look and see, and you're gonna looking upon them other philosophies. And thine heart shall utter perverse things. Man, and when you get to learning all these different philosophies, you know, mixed all your wine up, and your wine is all red, and you sound good to yourself. But when they come up on the service, the true men of the Lord, you're gonna utter out all kind of perverse things. That all this they're gonna be vomiting up all this false, fake shit that they done learned. You know, it's gonna be all perverse. Why? Because you're gonna be outside the temple, man. You're gonna be profaned. Verse 34: Yea, thou shalt be as he that lieth down in the midst of the sea, and he that lieth upon the top of a mast. They have stricken me. Shalt thou say, I was not sick, but they have beaten me, and and felt it not? When I shall awake, I will seek it yet again. And that's you're gonna seek it yet again because your conscience will be seared with a hot iron. You're gonna be drawn to that strange woman, and you're gonna wake every morning, even though you be getting stricken down, even though you're gonna be sick, full of philosophies. You're gonna be beaten, but yet when you wake, yet when you think your mind is awoke, you're gonna seek out more and more of these different philosophies because you can't get enough of that. So it takes a real, because we don't look for the strange woman. We all of us brothers that's been called to this truth and be servants, true servants to the Most High. We all have our one woman, and her name is Sophia. So with that, this video went a little longer than I anticipated it to, but hopefully, Lord willing, it was edifying to whomever was able to tune in. And with that, I just want to say all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Baha Quadash Rakah, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations with safety to the sincere Akim. Shalom.